Hello, everybody. It's Shannon. Today, we are going to talk about mini loom kits. So these mini loom kits are sold by Maria from A Needle Runs Through It, and you can also get them on my website. Whenever we're doing shows anywhere, you can get them. They are so wonderful. They come in a little tin that is a tin like this. It has a mini loom kit sticker on it. But the kit comes with the loom, a small wooden needle, a small comb, and a nice chunky metal needle, as well as a little booklet, a little zine that tells you how to do everything. So there's also a QR code on the back that gets you to these videos. So I wanted to do quick little overview videos of just this loom because the more in-depth videos are always at the bookmark loom listing or playlist. But I wanted to make a quick little playlist that walks you through how to do everything for this loom. The kit that you've gotten has the yarn included too, and it is the perfect yarn for both warping and weaving on this little loom. So if you look at your loom, you'll see it's square and it has 4 holes. Those holes are to anchor your yarn so you can warp and get a nice warping tension. So kind of going backwards a little more, warp are the vertical lines of yarn or thread on which you create your fabric. So you create your fabric by weaving over and under your warp threads, and what you use to weave is called your weft. With any kind of weaving, the structure of your warp thread is generally more important than the structure of your weft thread, because your warp thread has to be strong and is like your foundation. So what you've gotten in your kit is a 4-ply sock yarn, and that is what I recommend for your warp. You can use other things for your weft. You can use fun, like boucle yarns. You can use mohair. You can use thicker yarn. You can use thinner yarn. But a nice, strong fingering weight yarn is what I recommend for the warp, or you can use a cotton warp thread, whatever you prefer. And this is going forward after you've used the yarn in your kit, or if you want to add to your kit. So anyway, that is what I recommend for your warp. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice, strong fingering weight yarn, and I'm going to tie it. I like to start at the top left. I will say that it really doesn't matter where you start with weaving. It doesn't matter if you go right to left or left to right, because you're going to be doing both as you continue your weaving. It doesn't matter if you start on the top or the bottom. Where you end in relation to where you started matters depending on what kind of a pattern you want to do. For a plain weave for your first project, I would recommend starting and stopping at the top, just because it's easier and it's what the videos show. So when you are doing your warping, we're going to go from where we placed our little knot, and I did a double knot here. We're going to travel just a little bit across the back of our loom up by the teeth. So these things that your warp threads go around are called the teeth. And I like to go a couple teeth in, and I like to have my warp knot going all the way to the edge of my loom. So I'm going to go straight down to the corresponding teeth at the bottom. I'm going to wrap around the teeth, just like so. And then I'm going to go back up to the top of my loom. As I'm doing this is how I'm doing the entire thing. I'm not going all the way around my loom. I'm wrapping my yarn around the teeth. And as I'm doing this, I am tugging on my warp thread because I want a nice taut tension. It doesn't have to be so hard, or you don't have to pull so hard that you're like hurting yourself or threatening to snap the yarn or thread, but you want a nice, strong tension on which to weave. And so I'm just going around each tooth. See how you can see these little loops of yarn because I'm going around each tooth. And I'm using my non-dominant hand to kind of hold my yarn in place as I wrap. These looms are so little and cute and so easy to kind of manipulate. So I'm turning the whole loom because it's easier for me. You can also just hold it so it's oriented in this way if that's easier for you, whatever makes the most sense for you. And then what I'm going to do is cut a nice thread of 6 to 8 inches. As you can see, I'm using my non-dominant hand to hold my thread, to hold my warp thread on the back so it stays taut. And then I'm going to tie my knot. And the kind of knot I like to do for this is like a modified surgeon's knot. So I'm making a loop after I fed my tail through the hole on the top, and I went through that loop twice. And so what that gives me is a knot that I can tug up against my loom and tighten. This knot does run the risk of loosening as you work. So after you've got it nice and tight, you can always go through and tie a regular double knot on top of that. But that's a nice anchoring knot. And if I'm doing something small, I don't super find that I have to retighten it. So that is how you warp on this little teensy weensy adorable little loom. Next video, I will show you how to start weaving.